Pastor Adeboye, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, has faced a lot of backlash and insults from some Nigerians because of this trending video.
I don't support those who are accusing the president of not doing enough. When the commander-in-chief had given instructions to his subordinates, he has done his bit. You don't expect him to go and put on khaki.
This is just a 1-minute clip of a 30-minute long session that Pastor Adeboye had a few days ago in America. And I've always said it on this channel that you do not use a 1-minute clip to judge an entire message. And for copyright reasons, I cannot post the entire clip here. But what I can do is to explain the entire clip by showing clips to support my explanation, so you can understand what he really said in the full video before you go ahead to leave your comments. Pastor Adeboye started out his session by saying that some persons were accusing him of being quiet over the insecurity situation in Nigeria, and it even escalated when a group of students in Oyo State were kidnapped and the teacher was beheaded on live TV because the kidnappers felt that the government were not responding to their demands as fast as they wanted it. So people began to mock God. They said, "You have fasted, you have prayed, where is your God?" He was hot. He went with God in deep agony, fasting and praying, and this was what God told him.
God spoke to me, told me that as for the release of the children, it's going to be dramatic. But he didn't tell me the time or the details. But then he told me that aspect should leave it in his hand, but that he would talk to me a bit about what will happen after this particular incident. And in some of the things he said, he mentioned what's going to happen to those who have been sponsoring terrorism and killing in Nigeria.
And this was all he said about that. He didn't go into details. Then he went on to thank God for President Trump. He said in November of 2025, President Trump sent a message that he was coming to bomb Nigeria, and he felt the need to speak up because he believes that no matter how accurate their prediction was before throwing a bomb, they likely would kill innocent people, and he didn't want that. So he spoke out on the first Friday of November in 2025. It was a recorded speech, so you can go check it out if you want to. He announced publicly that the government must do something fast. He said he has never met President Trump before, but he likes him. But that does not mean that he agrees with everything that President Trump does. He said Trump is the best politician he has ever met because he does whatever he promises that he will do. So he told the Nigerian government that God had just given them an opportunity because Trump has told them in advance what he wants to do. So they needed to do these 3 things. The first thing he advised them to do was to go and meet President Trump quickly and ask him for 100 days grace. The second thing he advised the Nigerian government to do was to call all military officers and give them a command to stop terrorism in Nigeria in 90 days or resign. Then the third thing he advised the Nigerian government to do was to go after the sponsors of these terrorists, because if you don't deal with the sponsors, the problem will still continue even though you kill the people in the bush. After Pastor Adeboye made this announcement, he was then invited to Aso Rock and he met with President Tinubu and his wife, who is one of his pastors. And he repeated the same thing he said publicly to them in private. And this was what happened afterwards.
He contacted US. He called a meeting of the big officers. What he told them, I don't know. And I don't need to know. Because he's commander-in-chief. And when the commander-in-chief is giving instruction to his subordinates, who are you to be there? And after all, I need to make this one clear. I don't support those who are accusing the president of not doing enough. When the commander-in-chief had given instructions to his subordinates, he has done his bit. You don't expect him to go and put on khaki.
So you can see where bloggers clipped out and began sharing across several platforms, claiming that Pastor Adeboye is supporting Tinubu. But this was not all Pastor Adeboye said. After he explained that he was not present when Tinubu was giving instruction to the military head, so he doesn't know what instruction was actually given, he said that on the 25th of December 2025, President Trump sent a bomb to Nigeria, most likely as a warning to prove that he was actually serious with his bomb threats. But shortly after that, the Iran war started. So Pastor Adeboye thinks that President Trump is currently busy with the Iran war, and that's why it seemed as though he has forgotten Nigeria. Pastor Adeboye then explained that the insecurity crisis in Nigeria has worsened, as terrorism is no longer in the north alone. It has now moved to his doorstep, which is in the western part of Nigeria. And the sponsors of this terrorist group are still moving about freely. He then called on the United States of America, President Trump, and other nations of the world to use their influence and help Nigeria in curbing these crises. He said he knows that the narrative that was painted out there is that not only Christians are being killed, but in that narrative, two things are evident. Number one is that the narrative confirms that Christians are being killed. And then number two is that none of these terrorist attacks has ever been traced to a Christian. That means the Christians are not the ones carrying out these attacks. And the younger Christians are not as cool-headed as the older Christians. They are very restive. They would likely take laws into their hands and act if something is not done as soon as possible. He said all we want as Christians is just for us to be able to live together with the Muslims in peace, because we used to do that before all of this started, and he believes that we can still do that. He doesn't want the Muslims to die, but he wants us to be able to cohabit in peace. That is basically all Pastor Adeboye said during the sermon. Bloggers just clipped out 1 minute and spread it online, but you can see from all I just shared right now that it is evident that he is not there to support Tinubu. He was there to talk about the insecurity situation and seek help for Nigeria. I don't see why people are insulting him online. I'll leave some of the comments that I saw on various platforms where people were calling him several names. This is what happens when you just watch one particular clip and then you run with it. You should always try to fact check whatever it is that you hear. Even though you watch one clip, try to go and check the full video and see where he said what he said, or follow people that will give you not just clickbait but the full story of what is trending online. My name is Charity Lawrence, and I hope this summary has enlightened you about that trending video. I post videos on trending Christian content to get you informed on what is happening in the Christian world, and also inspirational videos to help build your Christian faith. So if this sounds like something you'll be interested in, ensure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share with your loved ones. I'd love to read your comments in the comment section, and I'll see you all in my next video. Until then, bye.